Good morning to everybody. Welcome back again online video lecture class of medical biochemistry. Here I am presenter Dr. Shobir Kumar Mondol, Assistant Professor Biochemistry Department at the Hafiz Medical College and Hospital, Khulna, Bangladesh. Today I will talk about the second part of clinical biochemistry topic. Previously I discussed between the differentiation serum and plasma. Today I will talk start about talking specimen rejection. This is the most important topic in clinical biochemistry lab because in maximum time specimen always rejected because of several factors, because of several troubles. So that's why I will discuss today what are the causes of specimen rejection in lab. So specimen rejection criteria in laboratory. At first, specimen improperly labeled or unlabeled. If specimen improperly labeled, then specimen rejection will be rejected. Second one, specimen improperly collected or preserved. This is the most important part of specimen collection and storage. There is any problem during preservation or collection, then specimen will be rejected. Third one, specimen submitted without properly completed request form. Without request form, if specimen is collected. And final and most important is hemolyzed sample. If we collect the hemolyzed sample or during preservation or during collection of samples, if hemolysis is occurred, then specimen will be rejected. So now we will talk what is hemolysis, because hemolysis is the most important topic in case of viva and written exam. So hemolysis is defined as the disruption of the red cell membrane and results in the release of hemoglobin and other cellular components. Hemolysis is simple matter or simple line, simple English term. Breakdown of RBC is called hemolysis. When RBC is broken down below normal or before maturation or before getting the full lifespan of RBC, then it is called hemolysis. Serum shows visual evidence of hemolysis when hemoglobin concentration exceeds 200 mg per liter. Less than, evidence of hemolysis is not clearly defined. Due to hemolysis, plasma or serum appears pink to red colored. That's why we can easily detect hemolysis by our simple vision, because pink color or red color sample will always highlight hemolysis. It causes, during hemolysis or after hemolysis, it causes elevation of potassium ion, calcium ion, phosphate, serum glutamic oxaloacetic transaminase enzyme, acid phosphatase enzyme, etc. Hemolysis is occurred due to sampling, transporting and storage. Three types or three causes principally. One is sampling, next one transporting, and another one is storage. Too hot or too cold is always responsible for causing hemolysis. So, what are the basic or principal causes of hemolysis? First one, mixing tubes too vigorously. During mixing sample with anticoagulants, we always should be cautious, because vigorous mixing is the responsible agent for creating hemolysis. Next one is exposure to heat, excessive heat. Another one is culprit for hemolysis. Using a needle with too small of a bow necessary for the vein puncture. Next one, not allowing sufficient time for alcohol to dry on puncture site. Before puncturing skin, we always clean the surface, skin surface, by using alcohol. So we must wait for some time for drying this alcohol in skin. Otherwise, it will cause hemolysis. And last one is leaving the tourniquet on for longer than 1 minute, because more than 1 minute tourniquet, it it will cause stasis, and that's why hemolysis may occur. According to the degree of hemolysis, it's classified as 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus. 1 plus may be accepted for some regions or some tastes that are not affected by red blood cell counts, but double plus and triple plus not acceptable for any test. So, when there is 2 plus or 3 plus hemolysis level, we will discard that sample. So, what are the changes in the serum color? Indicate one of the following. That's not only for hemolysis. By using this visualization, we can detect by various types of health disorders through our naked eye. So, what are the color changes during sample preservation or sample collection? Hemolyzed, when serum appears pink to red due to rupture of red blood cells. Icteric, serum appears yellow due to high bilirubin content. Lipemic, serum appears milky or turbid due to high lipid. So, what are the preventive ways of hemolysis? We have to know these ways. Prevention. So, at first, for routine collections, use a 20 to 22 gauze needle. We have to remember this. Next one, syringe, needle and test tube must be dry. Next, tourniquet should not be applied tightly and highly. Next one, do not collect a specimen in a hematoma. When there is hematoma, we always avoid that site. Do not centrifuge the specimen for a prolonged period of time because excessive centrifugation causes hemolysis. Draw the sample gently and evenly. If the analysis is delayed, the sample should be kept in refrigerator. This is the last and most important. So, what are the precautions during taking blood samples? This is the important during blood collection. The posture of the patient, the choice of skin cleansing agent and the selection of a suitable vein are the principal factors to consider before proceeding to collect each specimen. First one, the skin must be clean by spirit over the site for collecting the blood specimen. Skin must be clean by using spirit, otherwise there is chance for infection. However, it must be remembered that alcohol and methylated spirits can cause hemolysis. I previously talked. So, before collecting blood sample, skin must be dry. Number 2, limbs into whose intravenous infusions are being given must not be selected as the site of vein puncture unless particular care is taken. The needle or cannula must first be thoroughly flushed out with the blood to avoid dilution of the specimen with infusion fluid. Third one, vein puncture technique should be standardized as far as possible to enable closer comparison of successive results of patients. Number 4, hemolysis should be avoided since it renders specimens unsuitable for plasma potassium ion, magnesium and many protein and enzyme activity measurements. Number 5, venous blood specimens should be obtained with minimal stasis. I previously discussed about stasis because prolonged stasis can markedly raise the concentrations of plasma proteins and other non-diffusible substances. It is advisable to release the tourniquet before withdrawing the sample of blood. Number 6, posture should be standardized if possible. When a patient's posture changes from lying to standing, there may be an increase of as much as 13% in the concentration of plasma protein and protein-bound constituents due to redistribution of fluid in the extracellular space. And number 7, this is the final and the most vital, which is infection hazard or biohazard. High risk specimens require special care in collection, and this danger must be clearly indicated on the request form. This is the most important. So that's all for today. This was the part 2 of clinical biochemistry topic. I think you have understood what I said, and after few days, I'll see again with you all with a new topic from this chapter. So thank you for patient sharing. See you soon. Thank you.